We are back on the Rational Boomer podcast. Hopefully, your day is going well. It is Tuesday. I've been looking forward to this podcast. Honestly, I wasn't sure if we were ever going to be able to do this again. I have Will with me on the show. And immediately after the election, believe it or not, Will was a little fired up. And he was very concerned about the safety of him and his family, and justifiably so, with all that's going on and being in Georgia and such. And I wasn't sure if he was going to come back on the show or not because I knew what his priorities were. But in true Will fashion, a couple of days passed. He goes, "Fuck it, let's kick their ass." So we welcome Will back and thank you for showing up on the show today.
Yeah, hi guys. Yeah, it was we're going to discuss a lot of things here. A lot of people ain't going to like what I said. When I said I was going to be on this podcast, um I said there ain't no clappy here. This is not going to be some kind of political fucking discussion.
I
This
gotcha.
ain't because that time is over. Let me make this clear. That time is over, and we're going to talk about that in a couple of levels. But the reason I was so fucking frustrated, other than the obvious we're going to get to in a moment, is that when I had to go down to the doctor and I'm on the way to the doctor's office and there's, the Trump people were just fucking, man, they were putting up fucking poster boards
Yeah.
on the way on some of the roads I was on. But a couple of them had a fucking Third Reich flag with Trump's name on it.
Right.
And that fucking disturbed me to no fucking core. And considering that his chief of staff or head of policy is Stephen Miller, that all fucking tracks now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not that per day. So, and little by little, what pisses me off at this point, and I'm going to take this in a couple of pieces, and I'm going to come down to distilling what happened on November 5th. The first part I want to talk about is the fucking far left. You motherfuckers. Just like 2016, you don't live in the real fucking world. You don't. This is not on Kamala Harris. That was the perfect campaign.
She did everything right.
She did everything right. I've already heard Democrats saying it's her fault,
No.
especially Bernie fucking Sanders. Hey, Bernie, do me a favor, and I can say this on YouTube, but I can't say this on TikTok. Fucking die. Please do us all a favor and die.
Now
Because you're
let me step in here too, because I don't want you to take all the heat for this. I've said this too. I don't know if I've said it in a video or not, because Bernie Sanders is beloved by a lot of people because of his left attitudes.
why?
And I agree with that. But here's what you have to understand about Bernie Sanders and the Bernie bros, the far left. They are part of the reason why Hillary Clinton lost. They are definitely part of the reason why Kamala lost, because you got these far left people sweeping for Gaza and saying, "Oh my God, Joe Biden is Genocide Joe." Well, let me tell you what you fucks just did. By voting against Kamala Harris and voting for Donald Trump, or just not voting and letting Donald Trump win, you far left bleeding heart liberals have essentially wiped out Gaza, because
Oh,
that's what
fuck yeah.
Netanyahu was going to do, and Donald Trump has told him he could. So
Do you see the
blood is going to be
announcement
on your
yesterday?
hands. Go
You
ahead.
see the
Now,
announcement?
I did see
Yeah, the
something. Tell
announcement
us.
yesterday. The Israelis are going to annex the West Bank.
Yeah.
They weren't going to do it if Biden was president or Kamala Harris going to bear it president. No, they're going to annex the West Bank. That means all those people in there are living there are gone, pushed out. So he doesn't give a fuck now. Why? He's got
Right.
fucking carte blanche.
Well,
And the thing about it, what pissed me off worse is the reaction afterwards when everyone got pissed because they say, okay, we taught the Democrats a lesson. Now we can form a coalition. No, 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 no. You don't fucking get it. We had a coalition. You fucking backstabbed us. So you can go back to your little latte liberal bullshit and go fuck yourself.
and
As
then
simple as that.
and then you can tell us how you save the people of Gaza after Netanyahu wipes them out.
Did you see that in the Palestinian Americans? Hey guys, did you not hear what they said is next? Not only is he going to deport the fucking idiots Latinos who embarrassed me for voting for Trump, and I'm getting your fucking ass next, is they're going to deport everyone who's protested against the Palestinians, and your ass is out. You'll get there in time in Palestine for the Israelis to walk you into the desert like the Armenians did to the Turks.
Right.
That's what they're going to do. That's on their fucking list. And you guys think that this helped you? There was a fucking protest. Was it in DC or New York?
Yeah, I think it was
Palestinians
DC.
against Trump. And they're all looking at, well, are you going to help? No, honestly, the first thing I thought about, I'm going to have a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Well, yeah, at this point, what's the point? We try, this is what people have said. I've said this before, and people have come back. I said it with Old Soul yesterday, and I'll say it with you again today. And people don't listen to everything I say, and they get mad about it. And I say this, look, I'm an old white retired guy. I live in a fucking blue state. I don't have anything to worry about. And that's where they stop listening. My point of this is we're the fuckers that have a little bit of sway. So we're the motherfuckers that have to step up and fight for those marginalized people because they're not going to be able to do it just for themselves. And people will say, well, you're just happy because you're no white guy. Bitch, I've been talking about this every fucking day for 4 years. If you don't know who I am by now, fuck you, leave, because I don't care.
And the point is, it's like, I mean, if you break, so we're going to lay this out straight up. The Democrats the old Democrats are blaming everyone but themselves.
Right. Of course.
Yeah, I mean, Nancy Pelosi went after Joe Biden, who should have stepped down earlier. Hey, Nancy, I'm going to be blunt, guys. Forgive me. And Kamala Harris was a great candidate. She ran a great campaign. But you know what? You guys read the room wrong. No one was ready for a woman. I'm going to take a race out of it. None of these motherfuckers are ready for a woman. If it had been Joe Biden, and I'm going to say it, even with the ageism, they probably would have voted for him.
And I'm disappointed.
And I'm going to put that on the table. And if you don't like it, fuck you.
I'm disappointed. That seems to be true, and I'm disappointed by that. I mean, for Kamala to come in, she's a great candidate. People said to me, this country's not ready for a woman, especially a black woman. I said, bullshit. It's 2024. Come on, let's give people more credit. But that was my failing here in what I was saying. I gave the American public too much credit. I gave the Democrats too much credit.
Not Democrats, America.
Well, America generally,
America
but the Democrats, you would assume they'd be unified. We know the Republicans weren't. If the Democrats had been unified and done what they were supposed to do, it would have been an easy win. If those 15 million votes that didn't show up, Kamala would have won. Now these folks are, I don't know if you're taking any joy in this, but we're hearing a lot about some problems with Trump-la-Fox. They're now seeing what's happening, the people he's putting in positions, the whole Israeli thing, and they're going, "Wait, what the fuck? Are you kidding me? You're surprised you got lied to by a fucking pathological liar? Jesus Christ!" But here's the thing you have to understand about Donald Trump, and I'll let you talk. Donald Trump, when he came in 2016, he did a lot of shit. He had pressure because he wanted to get reelected. Donald Trump's not going to get reelected. I don't care what anybody says. Constitution says you can only run and be in office twice, or sit in the presidential office twice. That's just the way it is. That's the Constitution. Donald Trump got everything he wanted out of you, votes and money. Now he doesn't need anything from you. Nothing he gets from you matters. So now he does whatever the fuck he wants. And you dumb fucks that believed a pathological liar, you're about ready to get fried right now.
Yeah, I mean, what angers me the most, and you and I lived through the same time period.
Yeah.
We remember the back end of Jim Crow. I remember the civil rights movement. I remember the people who have fought for it so hard. I remember the Rodney King riots in LA, George Floyd, all this. You guys know what Donald Trump was saying, but you didn't care.
No, you just
You
wanted to
didn't
win.
give.
You wanted to be on
You
a
just
tough
wanted to
team.
win, and everything that all that common sense went out the fucking because you wanted to win, and that's the problem with the MAGA fucks right now, with the MAGA or the Republicans. The election's over now. They think from someone who's been there, they think this is a U10 soccer game that someone won in a blowout, and everyone's supposed to shake hands and walk away friends. No, this was not a fucking game.
No,
You guys think it's like you won something. No, what you won was misery for the rest of us who isn't white Christian male. You
right,
dumb motherfuckers.
right.
You won nothing. And then you turn around and ask your family, women, people of color, hey, what are we doing for Thanksgiving? And their answer is, I don't know what you're doing. I know what we're doing, and you're not part of it.
Yeah, they're
I'm
being.
seeing these people crying on TikTok. And you
Yeah,
know what I'm thinking? Fuck you.
yeah, I am too.
It's not politics. This is about living and dying. That's what this vote was. And you're all about to find out about it, but you really don't care unless gas goes down, you dumb fucks.
Well, and
Oh,
here's the thing. We are seeing people out there just amazed that they're being shunned by their friends, their family, their colleagues, their daughters, their sisters, their brothers, their granddaughters and grandsons. They can't understand. Well, you're not going to separate this family for politics. No, we're not going to separate it for politics. We're going to separate it because you voted for and supported an adjudicated rapist, somebody who is a misogynist, a racist, and anti-Semitic, somebody who is a treasonist, somebody who lies perpetually, somebody who has been convicted 34 times. You supported him. Now you're as bad as he is. We know we're going to suffer. We want nothing to do with you, and they don't know what to
and
do
by the
with that.
way, and just a thought hit me. Yeah, you're separated from your family. There's going to be a lot of people separated from their families when they start dragging people out of their homes
Right,
and
right.
deporting them. The motherfucker that he put in charge is a fucking racist.
He's a
And
psychopath.
that's it. It's a psychopath. And they're going to, and here's the thing LAPD chief the other day said, no, ICE is not welcome here. We're not helping ICE. The state of California is getting ready to fight Trump. Washington and Oregon, Illinois is making plans. Massachusetts said, no, we're not following your rules and you can't come in and get people. You know what I call that? The beginnings of a fucking civil war, you dumb fucks. Something I've been saying for fucking months.
Well, here's the thing too: is
Months.
Tom Horman, who's the guy that's going to be head of the border czar, and he was head of ICE. When confronted with California saying we're not letting them in here, says you go ahead and do that. We've got 20,000 ICE people, and we'll go in and get them forcibly. That's what he said. Well, I tell you what, at that point, you're right. There is going to be a civil war. And I said this
Yeah.
before the election. I said, everybody's worried about violence if Donald Trump loses. I'm more worried about violence if he wins. And I think we could see that possibility if Donald Trump actually does any of the things he says he's going to do.
And these guys, I mean, see, Latinos for Trump. Now it's your turn.
Yeah.
You motherfuckers, you embarrass me. I have to explain myself now every time I didn't vote for Trump because you fucking embarrassed me. And the reason is because Trump's not going to deport you, he's going to deport the criminals. You dumb assholes. Everyone's a criminal that looks like me, you dumbasses.
Yeah.
Period.
The
End
crime
discussion.
the crime isn't murder or robbery. The crime is being brown. That's what you have to fucking understand with these fucks.
And the idea is that for these guys is that if they turn America more pale, it's going to be better. Okay, who's picking your crops? Who's building your homes? I mean, you're going to have detention camps. Those are concentration camps.
I
Let's be
just
honest. What
I
the
just
fuck they're about to do?
I just want to say something. When you say the brown people and who's going to pick the crops, let's go beyond that. Because I'm not going to diminish people of a different color to just workers. They're a part of the fabric of this society. They're a part of
Yes.
our families. They're our wives, our husbands, our kids. They are equal partners in this
Yeah.
country. I don't
It's
give a
just
fuck. I don't give a fuck about the jobs
yeah.
because you know what? Donald Trump's going to tank this fucking country anyways. But we're talking about humanity. We're talking about people. We're talking about human beings. We understand that. Democrats, to a large degree, do. But these fuckers don't care about humans. They care about colors. And this has to be pushed back. I mean, you were worried at first, and then you said, come on, let's fight. And that's my point about this, especially somebody like me who's in the position I'm in, where I live, what color I am.
Mhm.
We're the motherfuckers that got to stand up and push back and fight. We're the
But
ones.
the majority have said no. The majority have accepted on November 5th, you guys chose American apartheid.
Essentially.
That's what it is. It's American apartheid. You have just separated us all out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's fucking Jim Crow 21st century style. Okay. It's simple as that. You have made a choice, all of you. And that includes my Latino brother and sister who voted for that because you think you're better than the people that are coming in. You don't get it.
Not in white
They're
people's
looking,
eyes.
no, they're coming for the 14th Amendment.
Right.
The 14th Amendment. And here's the thing that really bothers the fuck out of me is that Trump's first thing's about the education thing. If you get rid of the Department of Education, I'm not talking about education standards, because that's usually set on a local level, is that you get rid of every federal program for special needs kids.
Absolutely.
There are people right now in panic because the idiots who are now in charge think that the Department of Education just sets standards and they're going to change the standards. No, because they don't care about the poor. They don't care about the disabled. They care nothing about it. You guys don't get it. These are not Christians.
I know somebody
Christians,
I
go
know
ahead.
somebody who voted for Donald Trump. They're a teacher and they have a special needs child. And if I may have to see them at some point, and my wife says, "Don't talk about politics." I said, if they say something to me, I'm going to have to point something out. Say, what are you going to do for a new career? What are you going to do with your special needs child when the money's cut off? And don't act like you don't know what it was about because it was very clear in the beginning and it's very clear now. And don't expect me to weep for you when you have a lot of problems. You put yourself in this situation. And frankly, I'm not as compassionate as Old Soul. If you do something to fuck everybody, including yourself, you fucking deserve it.
No, and here's the thing. The majority of white women voted for Trump again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Karens, we know where we're at. Okay, we can't fucking trust you. I mean, you think you're going to be part of the power structure. Dear God Almighty, I don't understand it. Um, I don't get it. But again, I'm not a white woman, and I've married a white woman who married me, so I don't know where it goes. This is ridiculous. I mean,
Well,
that's the thing. I The message was clear for Kamala Harris. For Trump, it was just lie after lie, and that's the thing. That was actually the campaign that worked. The
right.
campaign of lies. And people are saying, "Oh, the Democrats should have changed their message." To what?
To
I hate them
lies?
more than you two?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it's a fucking ignorant discussion we're having with, and I swear to Almighty God, these people who are in charge, Nancy Pelosi, Chuck Schumer, Bernie, I don't want to hear from you motherfuckers anymore. You failed.
Yeah. You
You
failed.
shouldn't be in leadership positions anymore.
Plus, you're a
You
hundred.
failed.
Retire with Joe Biden.
Go away.
Well, here's the
Because
thing. Here's the thing I want to avoid too is when we talk about white women voted for Donald Trump. Um, we can't make generalizations because you have a white wife, I have a white wife. There's a lot of white women that are good people thinking the right things, and that's the case with all colors. My wife ran into people she worked with, three black women that voted for Donald Trump, and they cannot believe that she voted for Kamala Harris. Talking to Old Soul yesterday, she's telling me And again, we've got to be careful of generalizations because not everybody's the same. But there are a lot of black women in this country that are furious with white women, and here's why.
Shit, yeah.
Kamala or Old Soul and a lot of black women went into these states like Missouri and the other areas that overturned or made abortion legal. You know, they were going to try to make them illegal in those states. And much like the case in most of the other states, they were able to save abortion in those very red states. Black women, Old Soul, were out there fighting just as hard as anybody trying to get this done. And then after it's all said and done, those same women that they were helping out still voted for Trump. Well, apparently they're not thinking because if there's a national ban, their fucking state situation doesn't mean shit. So again, people fucking themselves and people not being honest and not being truthful and not doing what's best for this country. This created even more division than we've seen before, black women and white women. Again, it's not all black women, it's not all white women, but there is a faction of people that feel like they've been used by those white women to get what they wanted and then said, fuck you. That, and whether that's true or not, I don't know, but that's how they feel.
Yeah, because let's be honest. It's not a question of states' rights if it's something they want.
Right.
Because the whole thing that he said about abortion is, well, I give it back to the states. Okay, the states make decisions, but now you do a federal ban because you got enough of the fucking Christian right in there. Okay, you lied. You lied. I mean, I trusted the American people to do the right thing, but I forgot. I am living literally right now in the short story reality of C.M. Kornbluth's story from the 50s called The Marching Morons. They, in that book, which is people not intelligent enough to know what's better for them, and so they go to emotion and hate.
Right.
Well, what the fuck? I mean, that's exactly what I'm living. I'm fucking surrounded by fucking morons. And now the morons want us to be nice to them and say, hey, it's just, let's be friends, it's just politics. No, morons. You're still a fucking moron. And you're going to bring pain on us to make yourself feel better. So
Right.
go away. I mean, and then the Republicans are talking about unity. Unity, my fucking ass. I saw Joe Rogan going, well, the President Trump should talk about unifying because we can make Joe Rogan go kiss my ass.
Yeah.
You divisive little fuck.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to hear anything from him. I don't want to hear anything from Bill Mayer. I don't want to hear anything from Jon Stewart. I don't want to hear anything from anyone because you guys didn't step up. You kept both siding it.
Right. Right.
You're fine. You
and
got money. Go fuck yourself.
You did it for ratings and money. Here's the thing. Some promising, nothing that's going to help us here. But I said that after November 5th, I wasn't going to watch any mainstream media news. And I have not. I will not, because I think they're complicit in Donald Trump being president the first time and in the second time. They're shit stirrers. They only try to create emotions. They try to manipulate us. But I will tell you this, some interesting data that I found. In October, MSNBC had an audience of 1.1 million people a day. You go back to the 70s, that ain't shit. But that's what was happening. October last month, it was 1.1 million viewers a day. You know where it's at now? 770,000 people. They lost a quarter of their audience over fucking night just because of how they behaved. And this is what I'm hoping we can do. We can put pressure with our pocketbooks on those places that support Donald Trump and just do what we've done with our relatives and friends and such. Shun them, cut them out, cleave them off, because that's what they're going to feel the most.
They're saying this now. They think they're looking at it as Democrats failed with their message and Republicans won, but they're not talking about the message for Republicans. They're not talking about the consequences. That's always been the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, even the little blurbs, because I've done the same thing. No, when it comes up in the YouTube feed, not interested. I don't want your shit. But I did see one thing that a little blurb came up about Steve Kornacki talking about the diversity now of the Republican Party. And I was about to say, that's No, he's right. The Republican Party is more diverse than the Democrat Party because they have everyone. They got the stats. They got the votes.
Right.
Isn't that sick?
Right.
I mean, talking about voting against your own interests. Dear God Almighty, what happened to you people?
Yeah.
What got into your head? It can't be gas. It can't be eggs. There's some lady that had a TikTok. She goes, "Yeah, this is the last time I'm filling up my tank at $70. I figure by next week it'll be half of that because Trump's going to take care of the prices." Motherfuckers, economics don't work like that. He doesn't snap his fingers and prices drop. He doesn't snap his fingers and groceries prices drop. Shit does not work like that. But you're too fucking moronic to learn and to understand. And you think that at $2.98 a gallon and your 40-gallon goddamn tank is $70 too expensive?
Yeah.
Grow the fuck up.
Well, here's
Jesus.
the thing. All these people that think Donald Trump is an international policy genius. Here's something that's interesting. And those of them that think he's a tough guy, he's a tough guy. Donald Trump said prior to the election that he will end the Ukraine-Russian war within 24 hours. And he was going to say after he was inaugurated, but he says, you know what, I can even do it after I'm elected. Well, we're more than a week. Well, we're basically at a week since he was elected, and not shit has been done. But I will tell you this, he did try to do something. He called his best buddy, his best girlfriend, and he said, Vlad, do not escalate what's going on in Ukraine. Do not. And then, Vlad says, fuck yourself. And he says, well, I'll remind you, we've got a lot of weapons in Europe. Oh, good idea. Let's threaten a psychopathic dictator. That's a good move. So then what does he do? Well, right now there's 50,000 troops in Kerch. He released nude pictures of Melania Trump. He released a meme showing him with a leash and Donald Trump on all fours. And also, one of his advisors came out and said, well, we took care of some things for you during the election. Now you owe us. And what has Donald Trump said? Not a fucking thing, because he's a pussy ass bitch. He's not brave. Vladimir Putin is going to kick his ass all over the fucking countryside.
Yeah, and the thing about it is the reason it's going to escalate right now because their response will be Joe Biden's response.
Yeah.
It won't be Trump's response. It'll be Joe Biden's response. And trust me, Joe Biden will do that. I mean, NATO, look, the idiocy's already started. I mean, the UN ambassador is Elise Stefanik.
Oh, that's not even the worst one. That's not even the worst one. The worst one is this Mike Hegseth guy. He is a former he's a veteran, of course, and he's been in some wars and stuff, but he's basically a weekend host on Fox News. He's making him the defense secretary. Fucking brilliant move. Even Republicans are going, what the fuck are you doing? People are laughing at him.
Well, I mean, Kristi Noem as Homeland Security, Marco Rubio as Secretary of State. I mean,
the Republicans are hating that too because they see him as an establishment, and his own people are saying, no, 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 no. But again, I'll remind you, Donald Trump got your votes. He got your money. He doesn't need anything from you right now, so he doesn't care what you think.
I mean, it's just, and these are all his people around him that are suggesting these names, people that they're doing favors for favors. I mean, it's everything I thought it would be and more. Everything we warned you about. Incompetency on top of incompetency. And also, someone said, well, why Kristi Noem? I'll tell you why Kristi Noem. A, to pay off. Two, Homeland Security was designed to protect us from threats, foreign and domestic.
Right.
He's going to hand her his enemies list. And that's what's going to happen. And it's nothing to do with protecting us from terrorism or anything. It's going after these deep state. Look for arrest warrants for like Kamala Harris, Joe Biden. Look for all this shit. Oh, Will, you're overthinking. No, I'm not. Because the worst is yet to come, you dumb fucks.
I mean, it's not overreacting because Donald Trump has said that. And you motherfuckers believe everything he says, even though he's a pathological liar. The thing about it is I'm also seeing Mitch McConnell now trying to cover his ass by putting somebody who may be a
God,
never
please,
Trumper in front of
God,
power because he knows how bad it's going to be.
he fucking did this.
Yeah, I know. I know.
He's the fucking responsible one. And now, a warning? Fuck you. That's another man should join Bernie Sanders in the ground. Yeah, I said it. I'm not. No, fuck you all. Because
Well,
these guys brought this to us. This was the plan. The one thing y'all got to remember this. They've been working at this for 40 fucking years. Little by little, little by little. This election, against everything we thought was right, gave them exactly what the Republican and Christian right wanted: a red House full of idiots, a red Senate full of idiots, and the fucking Supreme Court set up, and all the judicial appointments coming up.
now,
They got their fucking wish.
well, and I will say this: I've always said I'm not Democrat or Republican. I have problems with Democrats too, but the one problem I have in this situation for those 40 years, the Democrats have been passive. The Democrats
Yes.
have allowed the Republicans to run over the top of them. We thought they were getting some mettle in this last couple of years, and they have. They've gotten better. But they've let these people run roughshod and they wanted to be above it all. Unfortunately, you can't do that when you're dealing with fucking barbarians.
And the time is, it's now. Here's the thing. I read that Joe Biden is Trump's going to be at the White House for a dinner tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, no, God damn it, no. I don't want him in the White House. I don't want his transition team talking to the Trump transition team. I just say, here's the paperwork, figure it out on your own. And I don't even want Joe Biden and everyone to show up at the inauguration. I want you to leave the White House like he did. Why? Because he does not deserve this. You fucking Democratic idiots. You're legitimizing his presidency again.
Well,
Do
here,
not do this. Walk away and with a big fucking middle finger. Oh, wow, we didn't know you guys were like this. Why can't you be? Because you guys did it to us, and I don't give a fuck anymore.
well,
It's time for that.
here's the interesting thing. A transition can't start yet because there's a document that Donald Trump and his team have to sign about ethics, which is ironic for Donald Trump to sign. But for whatever reason, they haven't signed that. And until he signs that, Joe Biden can't allow the transition to
Transition
happen.
teams.
Yeah, so they're not getting any documents. They're not getting anything until that is signed. And for whatever reason, incompetence or on purpose, they haven't signed it yet. That doesn't mean they aren't going to sign it, but I'm curious as to why they wouldn't have just signed it right up front. I mean, it has to do with ethics. Do they think they're going to be somehow legally culpable if they sign it and then go against it? Maybe.
Legal to comparable to who?
Yeah.
What law? There
Yeah.
is no. Look, again, like I told everyone before, this is not going to be a happy cappy thing. I'm going to
No.
lay some fucking reality on your asses. Okay. And I'm going to talk about the first thing I heard. I mean, when the 2 days after, and when I came back to TikTok, I got on a live, okay, just to watch. I was invited by a follower. And they had this black kid talking about now we have to make a coalition about getting together for the midterms and talking about this, talking about that. And I said, that's not real. I go, that's not reality. I put in that's not reality. There will be no midterms elections. You guys don't get it. And I said, this is not real. We can't be like this. And they fucking bounced me out and blocked me. Why? Because you don't live in a fucking real world.
I don't
This is
agree.
not about politics anymore.
I hear people saying this a lot and they say there'll be no midterm elections. I happen to disagree with that. There's a lot of constitutional things in place that even the most egregious motherfucker can't usurp. So I'm not. Besides, the whole Republican Party is going to be incredibly weakened by then. Donald Trump is going to look like a fool. His own people are going to suffer. There's going to be a lot of dissension, a lot of divisiveness within this group. They're going to have a lot of problems, so many problems. In fact, a lot of things they want to accomplish, they won't be able to because of all the infighting.
But see, here's my take on it, and understand where I'm coming from on this. And I want to sound like a total downer. I just want people to expect There's a different. We cannot go at it the same way.
No.
You can't go at it the same way. It cannot be done that way. The Republicans might be in disarray, but when they take the House, because they still haven't called it,
Yeah,
but
which
it's
is
still going to be a
ridiculous.
Republican. Yeah, it's still a Republican House. There's no fight over Speaker. It's going to be Mike Johnson and discussion. There's not going to be that fight. Mike Johnson's going to be Speaker of the House. The thing that bugs me about a side note on that, people still voted for Republican congressmen even though they didn't do a fucking thing for 2 years. I don't know what it is. I mean, I guess legislation doesn't matter. Just giving them their cultural bullshit matters.
Yeah.
And so that's set. And these people are beholden to Trump. So my point is, they're going to go through the budget and rip everything apart. You old folks that voted for Donald Trump, enjoy no Medicare, no Social Security, enjoy that bullshit.
They're not going to be able to take that away. That's not something that can happen. It can't happen that quickly. I disagree with you.
Here's the thing. I mean, when you get what you want, when they finally got what they want, they're going to do it. Because how are you going to stop them? What are you going to do? And the point is that people may get upset and protest because there's still.
But see, here's the thing: is you're buying into something that is not positive for the future. You're buying into the fact that they're all powerful and they will do whatever they want. There still are some guardrails, and some of those guardrails are going to be Republicans who have a future. This is why, Donald Trump was being used to get the presidency. Right now, he's not useful. He's a liability to them. And so I don't know what his length of time is going to be in there. They will want to do is get rid of him, put J.D. Vance in there. And J.D. Vance is not a good choice, but he'll be more normal because he'll be looking forward to trying to get reelected, much as the senators.
Normal. The man threatened to come out that we will pull out NATO unless we protect Elon Musk in Europe.
No, I understand. I understand that. What I mean by normal in relative to being a Republican or in comparison to Donald Trump, any motherfucker is normal to him. Donald Trump is unhinged. That's the problem. And that unhinged state is a liability for the Republicans as well. I to be honest with you, if I was Donald Trump's people, I would have a double Secret Service around him, and he shouldn't be worried about the Democrats. He's a liability for the Republicans, and maybe they wait till he's inaugurated. But I'm not worried about his safety, but his safety should be considered because he's of no use to the Republicans after the inauguration.
Yeah, I mean, the point I'm saying is that the idea of this old political coalition, all that, it's not going to work. If we go back to doing the same thing, it's insanity. And we know the definition of insanity. If we do not dump in a Democratic side, the leadership we have now, the leadership that brought us here because they're going to do the same thing again in fighting Republicans is bullshit. We need people who are just going to be nasty and mean and not cooperative. Because the point is, what was Trump's one of his first tweets? Now he's back on Twitter, being the Lord and God he is. He's telling the senators, hey, you better approve all my cabinet. I don't want to go through what I went through before, because there are Democrats in there with balls. They're going to hold up every appointment, hold up every bit of legislation, hold up every fucking nomination for military. They'll do exactly what they did to us over the last few years. And Trump is telling them, well, that might not happen. You know the only way that happens? You get rid of the filibuster. Good luck with that.
Good luck with that. Yeah. I mean, we always wanted to get rid of the filibuster. Now it's our best friend. That's what I've always been saying. It depends on who's in power as to who likes the filibuster and who doesn't like the filibuster. At this point, the filibuster is intact. And you're right, in the Senate, they can shut down pretty much anything like the Republicans did to the Democrats.
I mean, I don't want to see any official approval of any cabinet position in the Senate. I want you to sit on every fucking one. I want you to do to them what they did to us under the Biden administration.
Yeah, but
I don't want Elise Stefanik approved.
He just hires them as an interim, and
that's fine. The point is, it makes a problem for him.
Yeah.
It makes it hard. And what I'm saying is, it's time for us to be obstructionists. There is no bipartisan in the next 2 years. If you go bipartisan, you are playing in his hands. And meanwhile, people are getting dragged out of their homes. So you have to make a choice, Democrats. Are we going to play the old game of, yeah, he won, but we're going to be okay because we're going to be working together? Or are you going to say, this is disgusting? There's a traitor in the White House, and we're not going to support him, and we're going to fight him every inch of the way we can? Choose, because one way is going to end up to your death of your party anyway.
The ironic thing here is that going into this election, and people can fault me for it, every possible fact and bit of data said that Kamala should win easily. The only problem is the Democrats fucked up like they tend to do on occasion. So I said if Kamala wins and the Democrats do well, then they will have burned down the Republican Party and they'd have to reimagine and reestablish and rebuild it up. But guess what? I don't know what they're going to do. They're going to burn themselves down ultimately here. But now the Democrats have to go back and they have to reimagine. They have to change everything because they were embarrassed in this election. Now, people, well, let me ask you this because people keep talking to me about it and I don't put much weight into it. People are saying, well, there was election fraud and this happened and Skylink this. Personally, until I see some evidence, I don't even want to talk about that shit because people will grasp at anything. We thought there was funny stuff going in the assassination attempt, and maybe there might be, but then we have to count on the Democrats and DOJ to do something about it. So if they don't do anything about it, it doesn't matter if it's real or not.
Honestly, with Merrick Garland's Department of Justice as his lame duck time, it doesn't matter.
No,
Was there something sketchy about Starlink? I guess. I mean,
maybe.
you could maybe. I mean, you can come up with everything, but you know what? If the statistics don't lie, the majority of these people voted for Donald Trump. Ethnically, it broke down to on the Donald Trump side, except for blacks
Right.
who kept their part of the bargain. My people did not. It makes me sick. Fuck, 63% of indigenous Americans voted for fucking Donald Trump. Okay? There's no fucking fraud is going to fix those stats, guys.
Right.
It's a fucking pipe dream.
It
I
is.
I mean, the look, we got fucked by our own.
Yeah.
I wish the far left would just create your own progressive party. Get the
Yeah.
fuck out of here. Because you just keep fucking everything else up. Because you think you're going to get some miracle that the third party is going to win. By the way, where's Jill Stein?
Yeah.
Anyone seen Jill Stein?
No.
No, I haven't seen Jill Stein. You dumb fucks.
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing about I always said the Republicans have a problem because they're divided, right? On our left side, I thought, okay, the progressives want what they want, but they'll see the light, the train coming. We want all this stuff, but we understand that if we don't side with our more moderate left, we're going to be more fucked. Apparently, they don't see that. Apparently, they don't imagine that because
It,
that far left now has basically condemned those people in Gaza. The ones they're trying to save is pretty much going to exterminate them. So fuck you and thank you for doing that. But
they,
my point is, we're a
mhm.
divided party too.
Oh, we're a
And
mess.
yeah,
It's a mess. I mean, there is. I mean, I love you, Brian. I love you, Brian Cohen. I really do. You're a good dude. But don't talk about presidential candidates right now. I don't want to hear
no,
it.
fuck
He
no.
started talking about, dude, and I'm going, oh, stop, just stop. And the other thing is, look, I don't want to hear about, oh, great, Ruben Gallegos is now Arizona senator. That's nice, but it doesn't mean anything in the big scheme of things. Someone won some office, some California congressional um, seat that they've been looking to flip. Great, didn't help.
No.
Which I mean, it doesn't help. The point I'm saying is, right now we are in such a transition mess we don't know what's going to happen, honestly. And the idea of talking about political coalitions and political this and political that, for me, it's dirt in my mouth
Yeah.
because we had a coalition. We thought we had something that could work, but a good part of those people betrayed us, and that's what I'm feeling right now. Honestly,
I
Mike,
I
I
agree
feel
with you.
betrayed.
I
I
agree
feel
with
betrayed by my own race. I feel betrayed about the progressives. I feel betrayed about everyone who I feel betrayed by my country who knows better, who selected a traitor, who selected a criminal. See, my wife was still said, I don't know why he's running. He's a criminal. She knows this, but these people are so locked into some kind of moronic little world. And don't give me this, it's because ads and they watch Fox News. They're just dumb.
Yeah.
You're dumb. And that's all I can say to you is that you're dumb. And now that your dumbness is one, and the rest of your family who grew up and is smarter doesn't want anything to do with you, and even the Republicans are saying calling for unity, you can take that and shove it up your ass.
Absolutely. I mean,
I mean, it's and again, right now until January 20th, we just have to wait for everything to shake out. We cannot do anything because we don't know what's going to happen. Let's be honest, because your point is probably correct. Is that when they get into seats and the craziness really starts, how many Republicans are going to do it? That's what we got to wait for.
yeah.
Are they going to lockstep and do everything that Trump wants, including violating the Constitution and forcing the Supreme Court to make a decision on? I mean, his talking about putting prayer in schools, that's changing the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Stephen Miller's thing about removing naturalization of birth, that's the 14th Amendment. You cannot change an amendment with a fucking executive stroke of a pen.
No, you
There's
can't.
a process in the Constitution. Are the Republicans going to support that full chested, or they're going to go, no, no, you can't do that? Because if they do A, we're fucked.
Yeah.
That's what I'm afraid of. That's when I say the possibility of no midterms comes to the point is what is going to happen in that Congress when it's seated? What are they going to do? Because my biggest fear is that if they decide to go all the way and states fight back and states do that, Trump goes right to the Insurrection Act and then everything's all bets are off the table.
Yeah.
You see, that's you have to understand. You have to logically step through this because right now everyone is just sitting there going, "What if? Well, if we do this, you can't do anything yet because you don't know what the party in power position is going to be. Is it going to be we're going to follow the Fuhrer to the end, or we're going to look out for ourselves and kind of shave off some of the worst stuff from them?" I mean, that's what you got. That's how we have to react to it at this point. That's why the states are preparing for the worst. Does that make sense? Or am I kind of reaching? Because I don't want to sound, it's not a downer. It's just that we don't know what to do because we don't know what they are going to do
Well,
in the
yeah,
end.
there is something to be said about that. That's a good point. Now, well, you make a good point here. This is kind
Mhm.
of my personal credo, something I taught myself to do a long time ago. For a lot of people, for me at one point, when something bad happens, first you go to panic, then you start making crazy decisions. You speed everything up and you try to fix it as quickly as possible. Every time you do that, you make it worse. What I taught myself to do by forcing myself to do that is say, okay, I'm stepping back. You know how athletes, when they're playing baseball or something, they say somehow the ball or the game slows down. You got to slow it down so you can make some common sense choices. Yeah, we got a lot of things working against us here, but that doesn't mean that it's not fixable or at least um, handle it, that you can't handle it. There are a lot of things working against us. It looks crazy out there, but we got to settle down and we got to say, okay, here's the fucking problem. Here are the possible ways this can go, and we got to figure out how we deal with that. So, yeah, I think that's what you were getting to.
Yeah, because having this discussion I think the hardest thing for all of us, because we really did put our heart and soul in this.
Absolutely.
Honestly, we thought this would be a turning point for America in the right way.
Absolutely.
It did not. And so we're watching all the crazy. And the problem with the crazy, it makes you crazy and
Yeah.
upsets you. So here's the thing, and I've just come to this this epiphany. If you are a political creator, because I saw one guy, a really good creator, who's been like he even went to the DNC. Man, he's literally said he's getting a therapist because he's like losing his mind. I understand that because he put his heart and soul in it. I
I
get
under,
it.
yeah.
I get it. This is basically like losing the World Series. Now my team won, so fuck you, Yankees. And I'm very happy, and that was the best thing that happened in October and November. Um, and but the point is, it's not a game. I know the MAGA is treating it as a game that we should get along. No, it's not that I hate you guys. I
Hate
don't.
who?
MAGA. I
Oh,
don't hate you guys.
I
Well,
hate him.
a few I hate,
I hate him.
but I think you're just too dumb to know better. You're just dumb,
Yeah.
and so your idiocy has got. I mean, it's bad when they start looking up when you see one of the biggest Google searches what a tariff is. Now you're trying to figure out what's going on. What's going on right now, and I think for us on those of us who are dedicated to this, it's just we can't believe it. We sit there still and go, what?
Yeah.
We sit there and still, this was a perfect game plan. How did it fail?
Yeah.
What we didn't count on was the absolute disconnect of the majority of the American public, that they just are not connected to reality. We didn't realize that. And
Right.
also the racism and the misogyny. And for all your political pundits who are trying to put a political spin on it, you have to come to the conclusion that the majority of Americans do not want to vote for a woman, definitely wanted to vote for a black woman. They were okay with a black guy, but not a black woman. Okay, so you got to come to.
I didn't want to believe that. I thought better of this country, but
Well,
fuck
well, we
me, I
can't.
was wrong.
But the results tell us the same, and the pundits and the media keep trying to run away from it, blaming everything but that. So let's all come to the conclusion that's the truth. So what do we do now? Well, what we do now is that for the next month and a half, the holidays are coming up. Enjoy your holiday.
Yeah.
And honestly, don't come up with any suggestions. Don't react to any of the, because every appointment is just going to be insane. Every pronouncement is going to be insane. We can't, what are we going to say to it? It's insane. And I think that's the thing I've come to, just from you and I just kind of beating this out for the last hour or so. We can't stop the insanity. The insanity's here. We are as my mom, who was a nurse, had one of her favorite movies was called The Snake Pit. It's from the 50s. And it was about a nurse dealing with working in an insane asylum. Now, in the 50s, that was bad news. I mean, it's literally, they called it the snake pit because it's just a crowd of crazy people and you're just trying to control them. There was no treatment in those days. Ladies and gentlemen, we are the same people in the snake pit. Okay. They're all around us. They're all insane. We know they're insane, but they think we're crazy.
Right.
Okay. So what's our solution to that? So what you have to do is kind of walk away from the insanity, take a deep breath. We do not know what's going to happen come January 20th. We got an idea, but we don't know what they can do or not do. Can he just basically suspend the Constitution?
No.
I don't know if this Supreme Court even will let him go that far.
No.
Um, I mean, already there's some
because then the Supreme Court becomes useless and
useless, and I don't
impotent.
think they want to be that. They got
No.
egos. Because there's already some federal judges pushing back on stuff. There are rumors in Texas that they're not really enthusiastic about this immigration thing because it kind of would be bad for the economy. You
Oh, it's a
think?
big surprise.
Yeah.
You just figured that out?
Yeah. I mean, that's 88. I mean, you're that dude saying there's 20,000 ICE. Really, dude? Go ahead, bring ICE into East LA. See what happens. Honestly, I
Yeah.
mean, you think the gangs aren't going to be down with the taking care of those people? Please. The point is, we are so upset and disappointed with our fellow Americans who literally fucked us, to be honest, who because they don't know what's coming next.
Right.
And then the signs are already there. Companies are getting ready to raise prices,
Right.
buying direct materials now to build up an inventory because they know that Trump's going to go with these tariffs. And I want to know if the Republicans on the House are going to go ahead and do it. Are you going to do it? Because you know it's going to crash the economy. And if you crash the economy, who do you blame? There's no one to blame.
Well,
There's no one to blame.
that's, whenever I look at situations like this, somebody once told me, don't make a decision until you have to. If you
Mm-hmm.
make a quick decision, you're probably going to make the right decision. Here's what we know about Donald Trump and his administration. Back in 2016, they were fucking incompetent. They had trouble getting things done. I mean, let's look at what they got done. They got a tax break for the rich, and that's about it. They couldn't even get the wall he wanted done. So the question is, well, if you bring smarter people in, then maybe they'll get some things done. Well, he's not doing that. When you look at Marco Rubio or a Fox News host as defense, he's not bringing people in that are serious fucking candidates. So he's going to have a problem, and he's going to have pushback by his own Republican Party.
I
The
mean,
tariffs,
the whole.
the
Go
tariffs
ahead.
aren't going to happen, I don't think, because as much as Donald Trump may want to do it, there are people in the Senate that say, I got to get reelected in 2 years or 4 years or 6 years. I'm not going to get reelected if the fucking economy goes to shit. And the economy will go to shit because it's a Republican Party thing. That's what they
Yeah.
do.
And so the biggest issue we have right now is the media.
Yeah.
We have to fight the media, and I think part of
We
the
have to
problem with
cancel the media.
yeah, we have to because they're going to keep saying washing everything. Fox News is Fox News. We can't stop that. The right wing podcast. The problem with them, they've gone so far off the hill. I mean, we can't stop them. I think what it is that this talk of trying to do some political coalition before January 20th is insane. Stop it. I don't
Yeah.
want to hear about politics. I don't want to hear about the future because we don't know what the Republicans' choice is going to be. Are you going to be Donald Trump's lackeys and just do exactly what it says, even at the expense of the Constitution of the country? Or are you going to go, shave some of that off?
Yeah.
Because he's going to do something outrageous, and that's where we pin.
Well,
That's where we pin our hopes to
and see,
at
that's the
this
thing
point.
that's going to be interesting. Normal Republicans that are thinking about the future, because Donald Trump's not thinking about the future. He got what he got. He doesn't want to give anybody any fucking room. He's just going to keep taking what he wants. But there are Republicans and certainly Democrats that maybe don't want the economy to crash and are smart enough to know it will if he does what he does. They're going to have to rein him in a little bit. Otherwise, they're going to sink it for all of them. They're going to, I mean, here's the good news. If they have the House, the Senate, and the presidency, and the economy goes to shit, try blaming it on the Democrats. You can't.
No, you can. And they also let's talk about the other outline factors. If they do go lockstep and they say, fuck it, we're going to do it, we don't care the consequences, there are states. I mean, Gavin Newsom has made the announcement, hey, cool, we're not going to pay our federal tax back to you. Do you know how much federal tax the state of California pays into the budget?
Yeah.
It's ridiculous amount of money. They are the fourth. Let's be straight. Don't listen to these Fox News idiots. California is the fourth largest economy in the
In the
fucking
world.
world.
Yeah.
Okay, the world. And here's my concerns are: one, if they go ham on and say, "Hey, we're going to do whatever we want," then those states are going to start thinking as that a threat, and that's how civil wars get started. Because
Absolutely.
California, Oregon, and Washington having meetings together about alliance, that should bother. If I'm a normal human being in DC on the Republican side, that should bother you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that's not because the difference between California and those people, that's not a threat. Texas can whine all they want, but Texas is dependent on a lot of federal money.
Well,
Texas will never succeed.
here's the
They
thing
don't want
about
it.
it is when you get pushback from the blue states on Donald Trump, he'll say, "I'll cut your funding." Problem is the only people that worry about funding is the fucking red states, and the
Yeah,
funding comes from the blue states. No, we'll cut you fucking off.
right. I mean, they're already
Exactly.
talking about, okay, how can we isolate like our medical spending to the state? We're not dependent on federal. How
Yeah.
can we isolate education? Because you're in a blue state, they have money.
Yeah.
You
We
have
have
a
a
surplus.
surplus. Yeah.
You have a surplus. New York, come on. I mean, there are Republicans in there, but no. I mean, these are big money making states. The point is, we have to wait to see what they're going to react to it now because they're giddy. They think they got over on us, and they did.
They
My
did.
God, their messaging of hate worked. I'm sorry. And again, what we need to do on the background as Democrats, if you're part of the Democrats or Democratic Party, one, we need to cut the leftists out, and we need to just basically go practical middle. And because even AOC is practical middle now. She's not a fucking progressive anymore. I
Yeah.
heard her talk.
Yeah.
No, she's not progressive anymore. She knows that. We need to cut people out like Bernie Sanders, who's an old man who never did anything for anyone but himself. Simple as that. He's not a man of the people. Fuck you. Okay? I mean, we need to find, and the point is also, we cannot be cooperative with the Republican Party in the Congress because they're not going to propose anything that's going to be practical unless they come up with something and they reach out to the Democratic side and say, "Hey, we think this could work." Cool. But if not, we have to oppose everything that's especially this psychopathic part.
Well, here's the thing. They're going to say you're partisan, you're bad guys. But here's the
Yes,
thing: when it
yes,
comes to uh, 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 sending people out of the country, detention camps, cutting schooling for everybody in this country, you're right. We are partisan on that. There are two
mhm,
options. There's right and there's wrong. I prefer to be on the right. And when I say
right.
right, I mean correct, right in history. And so you're right. We're going to have to push back about everything that's egregious, and the Democrats got to stop fucking bending for people. The first thing we do is we don't panic and we react to the situations as they come up. We understand that Donald Trump is incompetent. He's inept. He's not going to be able to do all the things he says he can do. He's not going to care. He's going to get wild. And this is why I honestly believe that at some point he becomes a huge liability for the Republicans. All they needed was for him to get the election done,
Right.
and now he's a loss leader. He's not even a loss leader. He's disposable.
Yeah. I mean, one thing that's other reports that are coming out that in deep in the Pentagon, they're talking about basically firewalls.
Yeah,
Even if they do the Project 25 and start ripping things out, they're talking about deep firewalls.
yeah,
The word is going out to a lot of people in the military. You don't have to follow an illegal order, right?
right, right.
I mean, and so the problem we have with a lot of these, like Stephen Miller and that Tom dude, they think that since they're in charge, people will do what they say.
Yeah,
No, no, because you're not going to send 20,000 ICE people into a city without consequences. Because
no,
I'll guarantee you, but in a lot of cities, like Los Angeles, LAPD is not going to be happy with that. They'll push back. I mean, if you start doing things like that, Chicago, even in Atlanta, the point being is that they believe that now, especially Stephen Miller, okay, we're going to move forward on removing the 14th Amendment. How, dude? You know, you got to have a constitutional convention. You
Yeah,
know, it's got to come out of the House and the Senate with 2/3 majority and then be voted on by the states.
right.
You do know that, right? See, that's the thing. We are so absolutely broken by this election. We were surprised. It was hard.
We shouldn't
Those
have been
first 2 days,
surprised. We
we
expected
shouldn't
more
have
out of
been.
the
We
Democrats.
expected about more. Well, no, I expected more of the American people.
Well, that's true
Uh,
too.
yeah, about the American people. But when it came down to it, hey, you chose how you grew up and how you thought it was going to benefit you. What's not? You're about to find that out. I mean, I'm looking forward to the TikTok with the woman who, well, like I said before, the $70 tank of gas next week when it's still $70.
Yeah.
How are you going to deal with that? I mean, Thanksgiving's coming up. People are going to complain about grocery prices, whatever. I mean, it's. I mean, I could. There was one moment I did a TikTok with like a 2 grocery carts and $136. She goes, "This is how you shop." I mean, it's all what we have to do right now. Those of us who are intelligent have to understand that the morons are kind of in charge right now. We can't do anything about it. The moron selected the biggest moron to rule us,
Right.
and he's got other morons around him. And what's going to happen is that eventually something's going to bad's going to happen, and they're going to look to the rest of us and going, "What do we do now?" I want to go like Rorschach did in forgive me, I'm going to go nerd on you in in God, I just drew a blank on the movie. And they'll come back to me later, but basically he said when you cry out for help, I don't hear you.
Right.
You did this, you figure it out. As for the deportations and all that, hey, it's going to be ugly. We have to deal with it. Republicans promised that mass deportations, and I want to see what happens when the economy starts to crash because of that. Do you
Yeah.
know what the cost is going to be just to do basically some of the? It's $88 billion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Where's that
Good.
money coming from, assholes?
Yeah. Where are you getting that? Take it
I
out of the
mean,
defense fund?
no, probably take it out of Social Security. That's their next thing. Oh yeah, how's that going to work? Well, grandma and grandpa can't get paid, or you cut Medicare.
Here's the
How's
thing
that going to work for them?
here's the thing I've said, but I've been disappointed and disillusioned. I said the biggest issue of this last election would be the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
God, that's what
Apparently, half the
pisses me.
country doesn't give a fuck. I've also said that a bigger issue is going to be if they even talk about messing with Social Security and Medicare. Presumably, that would be a big pushback. It's going to put a lot of people in poverty if they were ever able to accomplish it. And frankly, if they even tried, it would take so long. It would be well after Donald Trump is dead. So I'm not going to try to scare people and say we're going to take your Social Security. I don't see how that's even possible based on the process that it has to go. But if they even talk about doing that, you would hope there would be a huge pushback, not only with Democrats and Republicans, but I
I
can't
mean, there
trust that
was
Republicans are smart enough.
when they started that in the first, that first 2 years of Biden administration, he got those, he had them turn over during the State of a Union speech. Said, "No, we're going to touch it." They know it.
Yeah.
They know it's a hot stove.
Yeah, it is.
Um, it's and again, right now for all of us who have common sense, is I don't want to hear about any political coalitions. Don't talk about politics
Yeah,
because we don't know what the policy is going to be. The
right.
political, the political landscape has totally changed. And it's changed because we don't know what they're going to do. Are they going to go full fascism? Totally, ignore the Constitution, roll out their new version of what the world should be? Or are they going to find out when they get sitting there in those seats again that governing's a bitch?
Yeah.
And you can talk shit, but when you have to govern, it doesn't work.
Well, we know
What they
Donald Trump doesn't want to do anything. He wants to play golf and act like a king. So then it's left to the devices of the people around him. Now, in his administration, they've got people that will do crazy stuff. But again, there are senators and members of the House that understand the accountability of crashing the economy and stuff. You would hope that they would do something to put up some guardrails. And again, Donald Trump isn't a thing anymore. He got what they needed. He got what he needed. So neither one of them need each other at this point. So there's going to be divisiveness between
I
both
think
of them.
the attitude has to be what the Fed chairman said to Trump the other day.
Yeah.
When someone brought up to him that, he wants to get rid of you, and he says he can't.
Right.
Well, he's the president. I go, well, the law says he can't, and if he wants to take on the law, sure, whatever, go ahead, do it. Because
Well,
his point was, go ahead, try it.
well, the Fed isn't even
Go
part of
ahead.
the government. The Fed
I
is,
dare you.
it's not like he has authority. He can appoint
No,
somebody, but he doesn't have authority over the Fed.
no, he doesn't. But Trump thinks that because they cut the interest rate the last couple of times, his inflation went down. He thought that was political because
Yeah.
that's the way Trump thinks.
Yeah.
And he wants to control everything. Well, you can't. And that's what I'm hoping, that there's enough law left, that there's enough common sense in the Supreme Court. They know they can't go total crazy on it. Because for all their twisting of the Constitution, it's still the Constitution.
Right.
And it's designed for the people, not the man. That's what it was designed for. And again, to the military, your loyalty is to the Constitution, not to the man. To the legislatures who are about to take the oath, you're swearing an oath to the Constitution, not the man. So many people may take that seriously, many will not. We don't know where it's going to fall.
No.
And I think that the angst for all of us, and for me and all of us, we don't know how this is going to fall out. Now, we know the misery is going to come. There will be the deportations. Counting who's he appoints as the attorney general, there's going to be false arrest, false charges. We're going to have to deal with that to people who've done nothing other than piss him off. We know that's coming. Those people have to be fought at the legal level as best we can, because unless Trump decides to ban, you know, ban habeas corpus in this country, if he goes that far, then we're fucked. At that point, all bets are off.
But can he
I
do
don't think
that
he's going to
without
go that far.
Congress? Can he do that without Congress?
My understanding is you can't do it, period. I mean, unless he declares we're in a state of insurrection and I'm suspending the Constitution and the writ of habeas corpus. That's the biggest fear we have. Now, at that point, then it's violence. At this
Yeah.
point, people aren't going to give a fuck, because that we're going to lose any hope. I don't want to say it's going to get there, but with the blue states starting to think about protection, if Trump makes those moves and they start talking about militia, then we're going to have a real version of the movie Civil War.
Right.
That's my biggest. That's where we're at right now. We don't know what to fight. We don't know we're going to get the Empire from Star Wars, or we're just going to get a bad government.
I
We
have
don't
been
know.
concerned about violence on the left side, but in my gut, what I feel is that it won't get to the point of violence because we're dealing with people that are incompetent and they are cowards, essentially. They will act tough until there's pushback. Somebody like Gavin Newsom or somebody in Oregon or Washington or Minnesota. I mean, keep
Or
in mind,
Michigan. Do you think
Michigan.
Rich and
Yeah.
Whitmore is going to deal with that?
No,
No.
no.
And they still got a majority of Democrats in the House there. They're Minnesota. No. And I know Minnesotans, most of them don't want to fuck with this,
Yeah.
but I don't think they're going to like to be fucked with.
No.
I'm getting that impression. I mean, and then another thing here, you're going to go into, I really, really want to see him go into Detroit and start pulling out immigrants.
Yeah.
All right. Now the problem is that Palestinians kind of pissed off the black community pretty well,
Yeah.
so they might go bye.
See ya.
They see you because you kind of turned on them, but I don't. I mean, I'm hoping not, but I wouldn't be surprised. But if you're going to march in like Trump promised, I'm going to fix crime by sending in troops in Chicago and Detroit. Good luck with that. I mean, those are the things we have to be concerned about.
Right.
Will he do it? I don't know. And I think that's what scares the piss out of us. We don't know what we're about to fight.
Well, and the thing
We
is,
don't know what's going to be there.
Donald Trump tends to talk a lot. He very rarely comes through with the things he wants, a la the wall in Mexico paying for it. He talked a good game. He kept talking about how he was doing it when he wasn't doing it. Donald Trump is a show pony. He's not somebody who gets things done. Maybe people around him will try to get it done, but we're not talking about incredibly competent people either. I mean, Marco Rubio as the Secretary of State, that's
Where did that
fucking
come
ridiculous.
from?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I
Probably
mean,
because he couldn't think of
it's
anybody
not even
else.
common sense.
And he pisses off his own people by doing it. The Republicans are going, no, no,
And
no,
then
not Marco Rubio.
Christy Nome, she what? Where does that come from? The guy. Now I could get the Fox News guy because he sees him all the time and thinks he'll be good in the seat. Because the competent guys, the competent people who have done this job
They don't
want
want that
nothing to
job.
do with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because you don't. Because Mark Espers, who was a conservative, no, I'm done. I mean, because he knows what he's going to request of him, and he expects that guy to tell the DOD and DOD employees, "You're going to do what I want." I don't know how far that's going to go. If they fire all these people, good luck. I don't know how they're going to do all this with Project 2025. If you
Yeah.
fire all these civil servants and collapse the government, you put in incompetency. I
But
don't
that
get it.
but
I
if
mean,
they try to get rid of the federal employees and they have the tariffs and they have the deportations, this is going to cause hugely horrible optics. It's going to crash the economy. And now they have to address uh, outrage by not only Republicans but not only Democrats but Republicans too. It's going to put them in a very weak position if they do all the things they want to do. I think there are some people that realize that, and dumb fucks like Donald Trump and his little circle around him that don't get it. That's why I've said this before, and people have gotten mad at me about this. And when I deal with problems, when I've dealt with problems in business, I've said, maybe we just let them burn themselves down. And Old Soul says, yeah, but people will get hurt. I said, well, people are going to
they're
get
going to
hurt
get hurt
still.
anyway.
We've got to
Honey, I'm
end it.
sorry. It's going to happen.
We've got to end this as quickly as possible. And the moment the Republicans are fighting against Donald Trump, let them burn themselves down. Don't
So,
save them.
yeah, and here we are. So what we're at this point is exhausted.
Yeah.
To be honest,
Yeah.
we're exhausted. And I'm going to address a couple of things we talked about before we came online, you and I. One, if you're coming to me or to Mike and blaming us for what happened, that's a you problem.
Yeah.
Because we did our part. If you voted, then you can say, I did my part. But if you think we did not want to go ahead and be God and put Kamala Harris as president, you can go fuck yourselves.
Yeah.
Because that's something we not wanted. We got side blasted by the amount of misogyny and racism in this country. We didn't know that that 50% of this country is that way. Honestly, I didn't. I didn't believe
I
it.
will say this. I got a few letters, a few emails saying it's your fault, it's your fault. And I don't really care what other people think. 99% of the people who came to me and said, look, it's not your fault. You did what we thought the same thing, and that's the way it is. What made me feel better is when I was at this conference and I talked to V from Under the Desk News. She's probably the one of the few legitimate news journalists on TikTok. She has 3 million followers, 10 times as many followers as I have. Okay. She said she was inundated with people with hate mail to her because it was her fault. But she said the same thing I said. We looked at the facts. We laid it out. It all made sense. There was only one way it could go, but we gave the Democrats and the American people too much credit. That's where we failed.
Yes,
And
that's where
and
we fucked up.
that's where we
We
fucked up.
trusted you.
And I won't ever do that again. I won't ever
No, we
trust the
have to.
American
And that
public to
isn't
do
that
the
kind of
right thing.
sad? Isn't it kind of sad we have to look at people now as tainted? If
Well,
you don't, honestly, if you can't believe, and I'm gonna say it straight up, if you are not on the same wavelength as I am, there's no disagreement, because there's no political disagreement in this environment, because there's no policies to disagree on. It's just hate. You hate, you wanted your hate, you got your hate, and you're going to pay the consequences, because hate doesn't grow things, it burns things
right.
to the ground.
Well,
So,
the only issue here is right and wrong. Now, if
exactly.
you want to be on the wrong side or the bad side, I don't want anything to do with you. It's funny when you walk around now, and my wife and I are out doing something, I find myself looking at people. I'm thinking, are you a fucking Trump-a-fuck? I dare you to fucking say something to me
Yeah.
because I'm going to make you cry when you get done because I'm not too shy to fucking say something. But we all look at each other and try to decide which side they're on. That's how divided we are. And that's how dangerous the other side is. We have to watch our backs with those
Yeah.
people because they're trying to destroy this country.
And they proved that already
Yeah.
on March
Yeah.
5th. Now, I mean, some of them are just coming to realize the consequences of their vote,
Right.
even just so early in the system. When they start ripping children from mothers' arms in the border, unless you're a monster, you're not going to like that.
No, it's
I mean, these
bad
are things.
optics.
Yeah, it's all going to. So it comes down to this in the end. I'm just tired of being pissed because there's not much I can do about it. I have to watch my back because there's already um, burblings of reversing interracial marriage, which good luck with that. I can't see where that happens.
No.
Um, but that's fine. I'm glad my kids don't go to school anymore. They're all adults and out of college,
Right.
so they don't have to deal with that shit. I'm glad I raised them smart, and they got their own thing to do, so I don't have to deal with that. I feel for you who have kids in school; they're fucked right now with the system for now. Um, I think for everyone who's in the TikTok community, for the betterment of your psychology, I'm not going to react to any fucking thing that Trump says from now until January 20th. Because I'll say why. Because it's going to be insane. What more can I say about the insanity that we already don't know?
Yeah.
The good thing I think that we have to understand is that people in California, in certain areas, know the insanity is coming and they're putting up walls.
Right.
And that's something we didn't have in 2016. This is a repeat of 2016. It's worse because we didn't think we'd do it again. And
Right.
we did.
We didn't learn a
Um,
lesson.
and the thing about it is, I wish Joe Biden, I really don't want Joe Biden to go to the inauguration, but if he wants to continue this facade that Donald Trump appreciates a peaceful transition, do what you're saying. I
Yeah.
don't want you to. I want you to make a point that you created this mess, and I do not have to, until there's someone that's decent, I do not have to stand on ceremony. I mean, honestly, that's what I'm thinking.
But he won't do that
Um,
because Joe's too
I
old
know, I
school.
know.
He's from another generation, and this world is a different world, and you've got to be a different kind of person. What I'm interested to see is what Democrats and the judicial system do between now and January 20th, because they haven't done jack shit. I
No, they're
mean,
backing away. I mean,
The
Marshawn has
Democrats
already backed away.
the
I knew that was
Democrats
going to happen.
the Democrats are going to be too weak because they've been
Mhm.
weak, and and the next person who tells me that no one is above the law, I'm going to call him a flat out liar because a sitting
Yep.
president, Donald Trump, members of Congress, they're all above the law. Now, I don't know what's going to happen after the inauguration or whatever. Just because Donald Trump may have a certain amount of immunity, some of these members of Congress don't. And the Jenny Thomases and those. Will they go after that, or will they just throw up their hands and say, fuck it, January 6th never happened? If the Democrats do that, if the judicial system does that, I don't know what to fucking say. We got to
Well,
burn
you
the
know
whole
who
thing down
I
and
mean,
start over.
Merrick Garland's done. He's basically asleep. He's not going to do anything.
He
It's
should be,
finished.
if anybody should be canceled, it's Merrick Garland. Because
Yeah,
that
I
fucker
mean,
maybe wants a legacy, but his legacy is bullshit right now.
yeah, I mean, there's nothing on the judicial side, it's done.
Yeah.
Let's be honest with ourselves. It's finished. Everything's going to be put on hold. Everything's going to be stopped. Um, Even in New York, he's delaying the sentencing because he's the president now.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Donald Trump is president of the United States again. Um,
And if Merrick
History is
Garland had done his job from the get go when he stepped in, we wouldn't be in this situation. Donald
nope.
Trump would not be president.
And also, if Mitch McConnell had done his job before that,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have this problem. But now we have it. And we have his circle of idiots who believe in America that really do. That's the bottom line to all your MAGA chunks. The America you want us to be part of and want to be kumbaya. No, I don't want that America.
No.
That America is even worse than the Jim Crow America. That's the worst because you have decided you are better than the rest of us, and I
Yeah.
ain't buying it. Two, you guys, the poorest of the poor, the poorest of the white folk who voted for this, you do know they're not going to give you any money. You do know they're not going to say, here's your white person check.
Right.
They're not going to hand you a job. And once they get rid of the minorities they think is going to make it better, they're going to turn to you and say, get your ass out there and fix this.
Yeah.
And you're not going to want to, but you're going to want to. You're going to have to. See, that's the thing. They're going to find out real quick. Now, what do? We're going to have to wait and see what we can latch onto that we can write up.
Right.
Well, hopefully, there's something or somebody in the House or Senate that's going to grab onto something that we can get behind. Right now, the Democrats are in disarray. They're
Yep.
worthless.
Yep.
The leadership is worthless. They're crying and whining because they basically they're just who they are. Um, Honestly, if I'm the Democrats in the minority in Senate, Chuck Schumer as a minority leader is an idiotic move.
Yeah.
It's
He
time
should
for
be
a new
gone.
minority leader.
Absolutely.
On the House, Hakeem Jeffries has shown that he's old school. We need a new minority leader in the House. We need someone that's going to stand up and say, fuck you. Nope, we're not cooperating until you give us something that's worth cooperating about.
Yep.
But if we continue with the same bullshit, if there are midterms, which maybe they probably will, it'll be another disaster. Until we decide as middle of the road Democrats to basically jettison any idea of progressiveness and decide that maybe there's again, nerd, in Dune, the second Dune movie, Paul Atreides is looking at he can see all the possibilities. And he finds out that his bloodline he comes from the bloodline of his enemies that killed his family. And he's talking to his mother, how do we do this? He goes, there's one path. And in order to do it, we have to become like our enemy. So we'll make this clear to all Democrats. You know why the Republicans won? Because we're not Republicans. We do not have to be their evil side where we hate everyone, but we can be as mean and nasty as they are and not take their shit and take what we believe in and push it forward without any compromise
Well, and
in discussion.
as we're getting to the end here, you make a good point, and this is a point I made before, and we just need to talk about it a bit. When the election happened, there was a lot of crying and pearl clutching and wringing of hands. That time is over. That
Mhm.
time is over. We can't be weak at this point. Me and everybody else have to stand up and fight hard. And it's not the typical democratic way of fighting. We do have
Nope.
to engage, and I'm not talking physical fighting in the streets. I'm talking with our mouths, with our power, with the narrative, with all this stuff. We need to fight hard. If we have to fight a little dirty in order to compete with these fucks, that's what we're going to have to do. If we have to obstruct everything in Congress because they want to
Yes.
do crazy shit, you have to do it. If they want you to cooperate with them, like you said, do not cooperate them. They are treasonous motherfuckers. Why would you
Mhm.
cooperate with them? We've got to save the country and we've got to save people's lives. And the only way to do that is by opposition, pushing back, and being tougher than they are. And we have that capability. That's just not been in our nature. We got to change our
It's the
fucking nature.
Republicans. We have to play the Republican game.
Absolutely.
And the Republican game has been obstruction for obstruction's sake.
Right.
And I think that's the only way that we could get through this. Now, they have the majority of the House to probably push through stuff. But the
Is that for
Senate,
sure now? I haven't heard that the House
I
has been
mean,
called.
the 218, I mean, it's close. And it's not looking good. I mean, it's all these they have to wait for all the votes to be counted in California,
How long does
and
it
we'll
fucking
see
take?
if what
To, I mean, it's been a fucking week. They don't have the count yet?
because California they allow you like 2 weeks. No, because they get all the mail-in votes, and
Yeah,
it takes a while to count them. It's an archaic system,
I
um,
guess.
and that's something that's happened before. It's we'll see what happens. 'Cause that goes back to what we're talking about. I know. Stop talking politics now, guys. It's time to shut it down for a month and a half and wait to see what happens. See how far they're going to go. See, I mean, we know the deportations are coming. That's but see how brutal it's going to go. See if the press is really going to do their job and be absolutely horrified by it, or they're going to sane wash it.
Yeah,
Then, and the point is, if we at this time try to create any kind of coalition, it's going to fall because it's going to be based on nothing. There's nothing to latch on.
right.
That's where we're at right now. So, we know the insanity is coming. It's just time to go, okay, it is what it is until January 20th. And then when he tries to bring stuff to the floor, if you're a senator with any kind of balls, you say you block it. I mean, Robert Dumberville did that for a fucking year and a half.
Yeah,
You can do it here.
yeah.
Just obstruct. Okay, well, they're going to be, well, they'll be, what is it? Temporary. Cool. Doesn't mean shit. Still not going to get what he wants. You could stop every legislation in the Senate.
Well,
They got to have a 2/3 vote to move it.
Donald Trump and the Republicans did that with lawsuits and
Mm.
appeals and appeals, and they did that for 4 years. We
And I
need to
got
do
to,
it for a couple of years at least.
so so I don't know who we reach out to. It's
I
time for
don't
the
either.
Democratic Party to fight like Republicans, but as long as you keep that old leadership,
Not
not
going
going
to
to
work.
happen.
No,
Not
I
going to
agree.
happen. And so at this point, for all of us watching this, and also look, guys, it's not a happy time. Our country betrayed us. A lot of people who think that they think they know better from us betrayed us. So now we're stuck with this, the idiocracy.
Right,
So how do we survive in the idiocracy? We wait for the opportunity to push it over the cliff.
right,
So
right,
right now we don't know where it is.
right.
Because honestly, for the next few TikToks and I'm going to talk about best way to make a Thanksgiving turkey.
Well, I'm
Because
gonna
that makes more sense right now to complaining about what Donald Trump's going to fucking nominate for Secretary of Education.
right.
I
Well,
mean,
at this point, I understand what you're saying about the politics, and there really is no point in talking about politics because politics isn't what's happening. But we can
mhm.
talk about what's going on in this country. What are some of the
Mhm.
reactions by people? How are people taking it? Those are the kinds of things we can talk about, because politics isn't a thing right now. We've spent the last 2 years
No,
talking nothing but politics, and we just got
and
to
I
look out
think
for the country.
yeah, and we have to ask the question to us as a country. Why do they think like that?
That's a good
Why
question.
do they believe in hate? Why do they believe in
Because
so
it
many
works for
tropes?
them. It works for them. That's
Well,
why.
but it doesn't work. I mean, as a people, as a on American people, I don't give a fuck about the parties
Yeah.
because they're power. They're using people. I'm talking about why you know that hating people and watching people suffer because you're hate is a good thing for you. Why are you now coming to realize people don't like you for it?
Yeah.
Why are you like this? And why do you need it? Because look, I mean, I could hate everything I want. I get tired of it. It's painful.
Yeah.
It just, I
It
mean,
is
and
tiring.
all you, it's tiring, but you guys need it because you don't have anything in your life. I mean, the young kids that voted for Trump because of their podcast and all that, you need it because you don't have a life. Again, the greatest thing about technology is what we're doing right now.
Right.
The worst thing about technology is you don't go beyond it. You don't look for things because you and I, we see this technology to go find new stuff that we always wanted to find out about, but we had to go look it up in the Encyclopedia
Right.
Britannica
Right.
and on paper. These guys, like my wife and I have a discussion about, hey, do you? We look up something that's just totally obscure. We have lizards on our bedroom window come out every night, every day. The cats scratch at them. We did an hour and a half looking up lizards in Georgia because we thought that was cool.
Yeah.
But the point is, we're not listening to Joe Rogan.
No.
You see my point? We're using that device, but we grew up differently. We grew up curious. My children are curious. My sons and daughters.
Yeah.
They that's the thing. We raised a generation behind us that's not curious.
Yeah.
That's scary. I mean, they don't believe in experts.
But here's the
That's
thing.
scary.
Come 2028, those millennials and those Gen Zs will be pretty much running things. We won't be able to do anything anymore. It's on them to decide their future. We wanted to help them out and get them started on the right path for the future. They said, fuck no. So now they're going to have to decide what the future goes, because the future goes on. I'm not, I'm 64, going to be
Yep.
65. If I got 20 years, I'm lucky. And
Yep.
20 years from now, you're on your own, motherfuckers. You better make the right choices.
And it's disappointing. I was hoping for a better future.
I
So
was
now
too.
it is yeah, and so it is what it is. And I say that in a sense, not a defeatist. Okay, this is what we got. Right now we're a week out. This is a week since the election. We don't know what's going to happen because we think we know what's going to happen. Um, but we don't know how far they're going to go. And
Right.
once they go that far, then we have to turn around how we fight it.
Well,
Because
that's
right
it.
now, if you're thinking you could fight this mess, you're going to fight the same battle. It's going to die.
Well, that's exactly
Can't
it.
win.
It's not the time to cry. It's not the time
Mm.
to fight yet, because we don't know what we're fighting. You have to sit back and be a little more reactive in this situation, but you can't panic. You go, okay, this is what could happen. Try to decide what we're going to do about it, and then fucking do it and take it step by step.
Yeah.
It's going to be
And
arduous. It's going to be tedious, but
oh, it's going to be
unfortunately, this is
painful.
this is the fucking position we're in.
And many people are going to suffer. And it's going to be honest. A lot of people are going to suffer. They shouldn't have suffered. Um, if those of you who voted for Trump ended up on the suffering part,
I'm cool.
no, yeah, my sympathy is not there with you.
No, and
For
don't
those,
expect help.
yeah, and my own, and so we spend the holidays taking a deep breath and enjoying the last kind of free from stress holidays to an extent because you can't do anything.
Right.
Enjoy the last normal Christmas at the White House before that crazy bitch gets a hold of everything in the White House again.
Yeah.
And then go for the ride. It's not going to be fun for a good amount of us, and we're going to watch things that would just make us go crazy. But then again, that'll give us a strategy how to handle it. Because
Absolutely.
at this point, there's no strategy other than just take a step back, y'all. Take a deep breath, watch it, and then we see what happens.
And then
Because
we fight.
and then we fight. Because honestly, the majority of Americans make their bed. They've made the bed. Unfortunately, we're all in it. And it's not a nice bed. It's ugly.
Well,
It's
like
a
I said
fuck
before, those of us that are in a position like myself, we have to be prepared to fight and protect those marginalized folks that may get
right.
picked on or picked out. So, this is why I'm saying we are where we are. The only option is to fight or just lay back and enjoy it, as one senator once said. And I'm not fucking doing that.
No, we're
You
not.
come up,
We're not going to. We're going to fight as best we can. It can. Is it going to get ugly? Yeah. Is there going to be violence? Probably, because they're going to try to force stuff down people's throats they're not going to like. Um, I don't like that thought, but you guys voted for it.
yeah,
Enjoy the view. That's all I got to say.
yeah, absolutely.
And the holidays are coming, guys. Enjoy it for now. And if you have MAGA family, don't stay away from them because they're toxic. You want an untoxic free, um, toxic free holiday
Or just a toxic free life. I don't want to deal
life.
with
I
any of
mean,
them at all.
yeah, and then just the New Year starts. After the New Year starts, then we know the fuckery begins
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
January 3rd, and just go with it for now. We ride, but the one thing I will say, I won't comment on what Trump does because it's going to be insane
Yeah.
unless it's something so outrageous we have to comment.
Yeah.
But I will comment on any Democrat who says something about the election. I'm going to light your motherfucking ass out up because you're a liar. And if anyone says about capitulation or bipartisanship, fuck you. I
Yeah.
will light your ass up because that's the road to death
Yeah.
for us.
Well,
End discussion.
all right. We're going to wrap things up for the Rational Boomer podcast. I appreciate you coming on in spite of all the
Yeah.
things going on. It's good to hear your point of view. I mean, you and I are like Old Soul and I, we're in total opposite ends of the spectrum. And it's good to
Yep.
hear something from somebody who's not an old white guy like me,
Well, I mean, I'm an old whatever
old brown
guy,
guy. Yeah.
old brown guy who's seen a lot of the same stuff and grew up in the same time period.
Right.
And I think that's what disappoints both of us because we thought Americans overall were better than this. They're not, which is
Apparently
sad.
not. Apparently
It's
not.
really sad. But again, Binder 38 US at TikTok. If you want to check me out. Um, again, probably the next few videos about looking about how to make sure your turkey doesn't come out dry or burned, or how you can take a knife to the back and spatchcock it, or talk about some nerdy shit that we already talked about. Because right now, all we got to say is like Donald Trump. Oh, okay, that tracks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the rest of us. And here's the thing: I feel bad for Midas Touch. I feel bad for all those guys. I saw their faces. They've been really good. Now they got to
Yeah.
figure out what to do now.
Yeah.
They're starting to reset, and it's an good luck, guys, because they're carving out Midas Touch hardcore.
Yeah.
So good luck. I think they're going to come out hot. The Lincoln Project disappeared for a week.
Yeah.
They're back.
Are they really?
They're back. They finally showed up. and basically said, no, this fight ain't over. So that's what it is. They know that right now we have to wait and see what the fight is, and then we take the fight to them.
Right. Exactly.
And hopefully it doesn't get to the point ugly. But if we can shame enough people, maybe there's enough empathy left in humanity that we can recover from this bullshit. And
Well,
that's the ending discussion, I
I have
guess.
to believe we will recover. And I always, if there is no hope, then why bother doing anything? And I always think there is hope. So,
Rebellions are built on hope.
yeah,
For my nerd people, they know where that line comes from.
and you have to look at it that way. We are no longer the establishment. We are the rebels.
We are the rebellion. And there's a scene, and this is coming from a scene from Rogue One. All those people in that scene around there telling to quit are the Democratic Party yelling at each other.
Yeah.
The one person standing there is the rest of us going, rebellions are built on hope.
Right.
And our hope is that we can convince enough people who have some souls left to stand up to what we're about to see.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way. And is it going to be ugly and we're going to get down on the floor? Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to accept it. But
you do.
There's hope.
All right. Well, thanks, Will. And for those listening, thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.